instead grows the pie for everyone. Access to opportunity gives life and meaning to our hard-won freedoms, and we can and must provide everyone with a solid foundation on which to use their own talents and innate abilities to take themselves as far as they wish to go. We can only do so when we stop denying the problem, pretending it doesn't exist, and then determinedly work together to level the playing field so that every citizen has a fair start. Because in doing that, we will build a genuine ladder of opportunity for every single South African. It is unfortunate that the misinformation does not stop there. Many may know that in the last few weeks, the Preservation of Agricultural Land Act was signed into law by the President. Again, this act predates my term as Minister, but certainly one of the cries that I've heard since becoming Minister is from farmers all over the country who face the threat of mining exploration and mineral exploration on their land. Large tracts of land are suddenly identified as potential mineral-rich areas, and applications are put in for mining licenses in them. The most recent case that I've been involved as the Minister of Agriculture has been in the Overberg region of the Western Cape, where a mining application was put in that would have covered and destroyed large tracts of valuable agricultural land. The Preservation of Agricultural Land Act is promulgated and passed precisely to protect valuable agricultural land from mining and from development. We have seen a huge encroachment on agricultural land, good quality agricultural land, by both mining and housing developments as municipalities expand. The reality is, if we do not wake up and protect our good agricultural land and remain agnostic towards its protection, we will wake up one day with a situation where our food security is at great threat and we are unable to feed our own nation. Now, I've looked very hard in the research and I've done a lot of trawling of the internet, and I'm yet to find a single housing development or mine that has been bulldozed to make way for a wheat field or a canola field or a mealie field. Once that agricultural land is gone, it is gone. And we do need to start moving towards a system where we start to protect and preserve them. That has been a cry from farmers across the country. Now, there are some who are peddling this huge conspiracy that the real reason that I have supported this particular piece of legislation is because I'm now going to wake up every morning and decide what each farmer is going to plant on his piece of land. And I'm going to say you can grow canola here, but you can't grow wheat there. This is absolutely untrue, and there is no intention of myself as the Minister or the department to direct any farmer in this country in terms of what they should and should not plant. This is done entirely at their own risk. If you want to plant canola in an area that's not suitable canola, well, that's your choice. You bear the burden of investment in the seed. You will bear the burden of having to manage that development. And if you succeed, you succeed. If you don't, it's on you. There's no desire whatsoever by the Ministry of Agriculture to micromanage at a farm level what farmers will grow and what they won't grow. Now, there's a regulatory process that will follow, and there are procedures set out in the Act before any piece of land can be declared as valuable agricultural land. But what this will enable us to do is to give those farmers who are currently facing huge pressures because they have one or several mining prospecting applications on their property, the peace of mind that the power exists within the Ministry of Agriculture, if that land is valuable agricultural land, to declare it as such and remove the risk and threat of potential development of that. There are others who are driving the conspiracy theory that somehow this act has been brought in tandem with the Expropriation Act. This act was promulgated and debated in Parliament long before this Expropriation Act was signed. The two bills or two acts as they are now, do not work in tandem. And my position has already been made clear on my views on the Expropriation Act. There is no expropriatory power in the Preservation of Agricultural Land Act. And I want to be clear again that I, as the Minister, and the Department of Agriculture have no interest whatsoever in micromanaging at a farm level what people plant, what they produce, what they do on their particular land, provided what they're doing is not harmful to the environment or causes significant damage to surrounding areas. That has always been the case. What we are interested in is ensuring that South Africa's food security is assured for the generations to come, and that we don't wake up one day down the line with no more valuable agricultural land left for us to produce our own food, and that will then leave us at the mercy of international markets. We've also seen in other parts of the continent and other parts in the world the socio-economic disruption that generally follows when there are shortages of food and when a country is itself not food secure. Wanted to set those particular issues straight. I don't know if NAMC would like to add anything, and then we can open up for questions. Thank you.
Minister, you've covered it very well. I'm in fact very impressed that you covered all the areas. So needless to say, the NAMC is a critical body to ensure that we grow black farmers. We are work in partnership with the industry bodies, and it's entirely voluntary, so the industry bodies come to us. So if there are any technical questions, we're happy to answer them, but I think the Minister has covered it. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, you guys ready? Who's first? Any questions?
Abra, you don't even have a question.
I still covered.
Oh.
Lindsay?
Not an agriculture-related question.
Of course.
John, do you feel, or why do you feel, I mean, you're specifically calling a press conference to respond to one particular organization. Do you feel that somebody got the knives out for you? Are they looking to specifically, what's the word I'm looking for, criticize your portfolio and the way that you're running it, or the way you've taken charge? Why do you think there is what you're calling a misinformation campaign about the work that you're doing?
Thanks, Lindsay. I'm not sure, and I don't know why Sakelik have chosen to target me and target my ministry, particularly given the fact that I've only been the minister for 7 months, and I still don't have a standalone ministry. So, I would expect that you give somebody a little bit more time before you start passing judgments on them that they're now, these big czars of triple BEE. I imagine it as part of a fundraising campaign, and I certainly, if I look at their website, along the article where they have a picture of me and my so-called, diktats, which are essentially just levy approvals driven by the industry. There's a fund us button next to it as well. So I can only assume it's a campaign for them to try and raise funds. But as I say, if I was a donor or a member, I would be seriously questioning why there is this overweening focus on myself and my ministry, when, believe you me, there's far more pernicious things happening in our country all over the place. But what I am not going to tolerate in the sector is misinformation. And so those who want to peddle misinformation must understand this, that I will call a press conference every single time that there is this misinformation and deal with it. So you can try your viral social media spreading, and you can try to leverage it that way. But the facts will be put on the table, and the facts will get out there. And I hope in doing so, it will serve to discourage those who take snippets of information, twist them to their own narrative, and then try and create an entirely false narrative to suit their own ends. As I said, focus is on making sure that we grow the agricultural sector and we create a fair opportunity for everybody in the sector to be able to participate, accepting where we come from and the challenges that we're yet to overcome. And that's why I also wanted to use the opportunity today to set out exactly how these levies are used, because Mr. Leroux will have you think that I'm sitting on these huge piles of money and directing them to various places. You have a follow-up?
Sorry, sorry. But I mean, surely people in the sector would know that that's how things work. So why do you think they would use that as a misinformation campaign when surely every farmer knows that he's paying an agricultural levy?
Can I jump in because it's related?
Okay.
That actually reminded me, I had a question after all. Yeah, I also want to know, is there something more sinister? Because yes, you gave reasons relating to the funding, but that just sounds not a good enough reason to be targeting you like that. So do you think there's something more sinister?
I have no idea, and I think that's a question that Mr. Leroux, Sarkelech, and their membership must answer. I have no idea. This is not a fight that I chose, but it is one I will defend. And I will get the facts out there, and I will make sure that people in South Africa understand, firstly, the huge challenge we have to overcome in the agricultural sector, and secondly, that I'm not going to be cowed by them and their misinformation and their targeting into doing something that I don't believe in. I will do what I think is right for the sector in consultation with the sector, with SAI, with Agri-SA, with FASA, with TLU, with all of the representative bodies. I will work with them, and I have been working with them, to ensure that we can grow the agricultural sector and build partnerships. I don't understand what is driving this campaign. As I said, it's still curious to me that someone's in the job for 7 months and you are suddenly accusing them of things that they haven't even had an opportunity to have their own department, which will only occur from April. But I can only deduce from the behavior that it is to stir up misinformation and sensationalism in order to drive traffic to your fundraising model. Thanks.
Joseph, you can go.
Apologies, Minister. I had the wrong time for your press conference. Having spoken about food security and its importance, and if this question has been answered because I was late, I apologize, and you can ignore me. But Mr. Donald Trump has offered South African farmers of a certain heritage an opportunity to relocate to the United States. Have you, as a Minister of Agriculture, gotten any information of thousands or hundreds of our farmers, Afrikaner farmers, taking up the offer and actually applying to go to the United States?
Thanks, Joseph. And let me be very clear up front. I don't want to lose a single farmer from South Africa, whether they're Afrikaans, English, whether they are black, white, Indian or coloured. We can't afford to lose a single farmer here. Now, I'm not surprised that people want our farmers because we have the best farmers and farm workers in the world. And the fact that we are able to compete as an agricultural sector against heavily subsidized Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere competitors and still able to hold their own is a tribute to the fact that our farmers and farm workers are the best in the world. And we can't afford to lose any of them. I'm not aware of anyone who has, I've no doubt there will be some. And look, let's be honest, farming has been tough. Farming has enough obstacles already without Mr. Trump's potential tariffs. Ports that don't work properly, roads and rural infrastructure that are broken, a stock theft problem that is spiraling wildly out of control, rural insecurity, and obviously prices, which affect farmers. They already are in a tough environment. And I think you add on to that some of the insecurity around land tenure and that, and I think it's, you can see why some farmers really worry about their future. But I've not yet met a single farmer, quite the opposite, who wants to go. I've been in the Free State last weekend, where I met both small-scale and large-scale farmers. I've met Afrikaans farmers, I've met Tswana farmers, I've met Sotho farmers, I've met and English farmers, and every single one of them said to me very clearly, we don't want to go to America, we want to make this work, but we need your help as the minister to help And every single one of them said to me very clearly, we don't want to go to America, we want to make this work. But we need your help as the minister to help fix some of and English farmers. And every single one of them said to me very clearly, we don't want to go to America, we want to make this work. But we need your help as the minister